What's up, y'all? It's your homeboy, whatever, man. Man, just coming at you real quick, man. My reactions to the fight last night. You know, I picked Deontay Wilder to beat Tyson Fury by KO within 6 rounds. That's obviously not what happened last night. Tyson Fury, you know, won the fight. Salute to Tyson Fury. But salute to Deontay Wilder also. You know, I thought that Tyson Fury was going to be more vulnerable. I thought that he had got the extra time. There's all kinds of traffic up here. I thought that he wanted the extra time to get ready for the fight, which was the reason for the postponements. I don't think Fury was ready initially. But I knew he would be ready last night, and clearly he was. Deontay Wilder came out early, throwing jabs, working the body, which I thought, you know, the first couple rounds, man, that body work, he was hitting Fury with some nice body shots, man, and I thought that that was going to be the game plan that he would use and keep up throughout the fight. But when he got hurt and knocked down, the whole fight, you know, sort of changed after that. Tyson Fury, man, he's a slick boxer. He's the best boxer in the heavyweight division. He's a big guy. He also obviously has power in his punches. He put Deontay Wilder down 3 times last night. You know, Fury did his thing, man, but it was a nice fight. It was competitive. You know, Deontay Wilder never could get back to the game plan. He was clearly gassed out after a couple of rounds, man. I don't know if that is because he put on the extra muscle mass. You know, that could be impacting. Also, you know, with he went through a full training camp, had to pause, you know, because the fight got delayed because Tyson Fury caught COVID. You know, and then he had to go back to training again. So I don't know if the stamina issues were him being overtrained for the fight either, you know. But Tyson Fury did what he's supposed to do as the bigger man. When they got in close quarters, you know, Tyson Fury put his weight on him, you know, locked him up. Kind of had the, you can't even see it, I thought you could see it. Kind of had the headlock thing going on though. Not where he's putting him in a headlock where he's going, you know, put him to sleep or some shit like that. But, you know, he was using those big man tactics, the type of shit that you would see the Klitschko's do, you know, in their run in the heavyweight division. But Tyson Fury was game, man. They traded their right hands throughout the fight. Deontay Wilder put Tyson Fury. So Deontay Wilder went down, I think it was in the 3rd. And then from there on, man, I was like, I didn't like the way he looked when he got up. You know, but he finished out the round. I thought that it was just going to go back to what we seen in sort of like in Wilder Fury 2. But then Wilder put Tyson Fury down. He put him down twice. So I'm like, all right, you know, the champ is here. The champ's not just going to lay down and you know, get beat up or whatever. But as the fight went on, there was a lot of good back and forth action. Tyson Fury, once Wilder got tired, it allowed Tyson Fury to build up his confidence more, and he was slipping punches. You know, Wilder just couldn't get off. He didn't land as many big right hands, but he landed those right hands. Wilder landed his right hands. And there was question about whether or not Wilder hurt his hand. And I believe it came out today that Malik Scott said that Deontay Wilder did end up breaking his hand. But regardless of whether or not he broke his hand, Wilder was still throwing that right hand, and there were times in the fight where he landed that right hand. And shout out to Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury for the most part, ate those shots. But there were times throughout the fight where they hurt each other. So great fight, man. Competitive fight. You know, sometimes somebody just has your number. You run into somebody that you can't beat. And I feel like that's what the situation is here. Deontay Wilder is the second best heavyweight in the world. You know, he's lost twice to Tyson Fury plus the draw. So arguably, they were the top two fighters. So, I mean, you have to say, after the results of last night's fight, right, that Tyson Fury is the #1 heavyweight. Despite Usyk owning all of the other belts, I still think Wilder and Fury are the top two heavyweights in the division. From here, what do we see, right? If I'm Tyson Fury, I go ahead and I take the unification bout with the winner of Usyk and Joshua, assuming Usyk doesn't get a rematch clause now that he's the champion, right? And I believe that Usyk will beat Anthony Joshua again. So from there, you know, I say Tyson Fury should go ahead and unify. And I believe if he does, that he will beat Usyk, have all the belts, and maybe that's the point in which Tyson Fury retires. Maybe that's the point Tyson Fury decides to have a couple more fights. You know, I don't know. A lot of people feel like, and this is just, you know, I'm looking at the comments that are going on stories and posts and stuff like that, and for whatever reason, people think Deontay Wilder is done. They think Deontay Wilder is going to retire after this. Why? Why should he retire? He lost to the best heavyweight in the world. Deontay Wilder beats all the other heavyweights. He beats Anthony Joshua. He beats Usyk. He beat Ortiz already. He beats Dillian White. But who will he fight after this? You know, I don't know. Who's going to step up and want a Deontay Wilder fight? Because unless you're just trying to get a name on your resume at this point, none of those guys can beat Deontay Wilder. So what's really in it for them? You know what I mean? But, man, salute to the champ, man. Like, salute to Tyson Fury. Salute to Deontay Wilder. I kind of feel like Deontay Wilder was prepared to go out on his shield, win, lose, or draw. He didn't like the way the first fight ended with the corner throwing in the towel. So, although he did end up losing, I'm not happy for Wilder because he lost, but I'm glad that he got to do it on his terms this time. You know, maybe if the second fight would have continued, he would have ended up getting knocked out. But that's the way he wanted to go out. And, you know, if he was going to lose, and he was allowed to do so here. You know, Deontay Wilder is a warrior. Tyson Fury is a warrior. We got a great fight last night. People say the heavyweight division is dead now. I think that the heavyweight division would have been in a better position, at least here in the U.S., if Deontay Wilder won, because unfortunately he fell into this role of the villain where a lot of people just wanted to see him lose. So people are going to support Wilder fights. They're going to watch Wilder fights just like they did Floyd Mayweather. A lot of people watch Floyd Mayweather fights and they paid for him because they always felt like, all right, this is it. Floyd's going to lose. This is it. Floyd's going to lose. So when you look at this situation with Wilder, had he won, people would have continued to support on that level when he fought because they were hoping for him to lose. You know, and it sucks to be the bad guy for the reasons that he was the bad guy. I mean, Floyd was arrogant. He flashed his money, you know, clowned around, acted a fool. People didn't like that. People don't like Deontay Wilder because he stood up for his own people. You know, he felt like he was a representative of his people, his race. And that's the reason that people hated Wilder, you know. The other reason people hated Wilder was because they didn't like his style. They didn't like that he could knock you out with punch that was similar to like a windmill style punch. But who gives a fuck? I don't care how the punches look. The end result, you know, was he was knocking everybody out. He's knocked out everybody but Tyson Fury. So, I don't think Deontay Wilder is done. I want to see the King come back, resurrect his career, you know, take a couple of fights to build himself back up. And then who knows? You know, should Tyson Fury win and unify? Maybe down the line, he gets to fight Tyson Fury again. He fights his way back up into the, you know, the mandatory type position. In the event that Usyk somehow wins. I mean, there's definitely no reason for Deontay Wilder and Usyk to not fight should Deontay Wilder continue to fight and continue to win. But then there's still fights out there, you know, that they don't have the luster that they would have had should Wilder have been the champion or AJ still been the champion. But why not still see an Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder fight? I still would like to see Deontay Wilder beat the mess out of Dillian White. You know, Dillian White talk a lot of trash. I'm tired of Dillian White. I would love to see him and Deontay Wilder fight and just go ahead and, you know, square that up. If Big Baby Miller comes back, Big Baby Miller talked a lot of trash. I wouldn't mind seeing Big Baby Miller and Deontay Wilder. So there's still interesting fights that Deontay Wilder can be involved in. And then as far as Tyson Fury, you know, the sky's the limit. It's whatever he wants to do. You know, he's the #1 heavyweight. If he goes and he unifies and he wins that title, it's up to Tyson Fury what he wants to do with the rest of his career. There's plenty of people for Fury to fight. But even if heavyweight boxing is dead, as people put it, in the U.S., well, he's got a big UK fight. He can still fight Anthony Joshua and it'd be a big fight. Will it lose some of the luster without AJ winning his belts back? Absolutely. Absolutely it will. But it would still be a big fight, at least in the UK. You know, and then if you look at the whole card from last night, you got Big Baby Miller coming up out of Toledo, Ohio. You know, he got him a knockout last night. Looked good. Now, he's still a work in progress. He's not ready for these top guys, but there's excitement here. You know, he could be the next coming when, excuse me, when the reign for Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Usyk, you know, is all over. Big Baby Miller could be the, I'm sorry, Big Baby Jared Anderson. There's more than one Big Baby. I hate that. The real Big Baby, as he calls himself. Anderson, you know, he could be the next top heavyweight. You seen Kaunaki go ahead and just get the brakes beat off of him last night. What's that guy's name? Was it Hellenius? Man, I can't recall, unless I seen somebody take a thumb to the eye or something like that. I mean, at the end of round 1, man, Kaunaki looked like he had been getting beat up for 10 rounds. You know, he looked, you could just tell, like, and it took him right back to what happened in their previous fight. And, you know, I mean, his spirit was broke from there. He was throwing those low blows because he was looking for a way to get out of the fight without actually getting knocked out. And that ultimately is what happened. You know, he was disqualified. And then Efe Ajagba and Frank Sanchez, man. Frank Sanchez, man, excellent boxer. Way more experience. Efe Ajagba is too one-dimensional. You know, he doesn't do enough to set up his right hands. His defense is not that great. There's plenty of opportunities for him to be hit. And we knew that once Efe got in there with somebody that, you know, could hit him, had the power to stop him, what have you, that he was in trouble, you know, without making some major adjustments. So, And you seen that last night. Frank Sanchez, man, great boxer. And I look forward to seeing more Frank Sanchez, man. Frank Sanchez, another Cuban fighter. He's the next Luis Ortiz in the division, you know? So overall, man, I still think the heavyweight division, there's a lot of competitive fights out there. There still is only a couple of world-class, you know, A-class fighters. Tyson Fury, Luis Ortiz, Deontay Wilder, and potentially Usyk. You know, I mean, I know Usyk has the titles. You say he's an A-class fighter, but I would like to see more from him in the heavyweight division before I crown him there. And we'll see what happens with him. But, you know, throw him on that list. There's 4 A-class fighters. You know, Anthony Joshua's got to be B-class for me because Anthony Joshua lost to Ruiz. I believe the only reason why he beat Ruiz in the rematch was because Ruiz just almost just didn't care, you know. He came in there completely unprepared, completely unfocused, and AJ got his belts back. But when Usyk was fighting AJ, once he roughed AJ up, you know, and almost knocked him down early in the fight, you seen, you know, AJ was pretty much done from there. So, is the heavyweight division dead? No. Did it take a little bit of a fall last night? At least here in the U.S., yes, it did. But still more great fights to come. So again, you know, I just want to come and say congratulations, Tyson Fury. Salute to Deontay Wilder. Still my favorite boxer in the heavyweight division. I will still continue to root for Deontay Wilder. He just, you know, he didn't have what it took to beat Fury last night. He says that he gave it, you know, all his effort. If he really did break his hand and continue to fight, he clearly showed, you know, that he gave it his all. And just watching the fight, I mean, where he was gassed and everything and continued to fight and continued to try to beat Tyson Fury. I mean, he's got tons of heart, man. So 2 great fighters. Great fight last night. We'll see where it goes from here. So it's your homeboy, Whatever Man. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Whatever Man, WHATEVA_man. Like my videos, comment, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Head on over to the Black Gentleman Grooming Company, www.theblackgent.com. Get you some of them good old beard products. Get your beard looking right. Use the code TEZ, TEZZ at checkout, and I'm gone.